What is up, everybody? This is Keith, go back guy 231 across the DFS industry. Hope you all had a great Sunday. Shout out to all the fathers out there. Happy Father's Day to all of y'all. And I hope you had some good DFS goodness this morning. I think what we kind of brought up last night came to fruition very much so. With Switzerland putting up 3 goals. Did mention that they were, the team that I thought from a GPPs perspective made a ton of sense to stack, given that they needed to score a ton of goals and that Italy might just kind of play complacent, which is very much how it turned out. Let's hope that we can get it right tomorrow. I'm just gonna be like very, very blunt. I actually have not found a holder I like as I'm recording. At some point, you just have to go, okay, I just got to talk it out. And maybe in doing this, a lot of times I've done this, now for over a year, doing these previews for EPL, UCL, Euro, all that stuff. Oftentimes, as I'm just like talking to you all about my thoughts, like I actually come across some things. So I'm hoping that happens today. So we're gonna jump right into it. We're gonna start with what every group needs. Gonna go through the players, give you a core, and get out of here. So hopefully it'll only be like 10, 15 minutes max. I know everybody, there's much better things to do than listen to somebody, ramble on for half an hour. So that's not gonna happen here. So quick reminder, like, subscribe, comment, all really does help. All right, let's just go right into it. So there's a lot of places that you can go to figure this out. The sporting news one that I found seems to work nicely for me. So let's just get into it. So Group B, that is actually the later game. So the games that are at 3 p.m. Eastern. Belgium pretty much set to go forward. Win or draw, and they qualify. They already are through, but they qualify as the 1 seed. Russia needs to win, so Russia's going to be playing for a lot. Finland needs to win, so they are going to try to attempt versus Belgium, but that is a big, big mismatch. You'll see on the odds as well. And then Denmark, really win, and they're in. So I love Denmark. I'm just going to let you guys know that right now. They play in Copenhagen. We saw in the first half, they were absolutely sensational versus Belgium with the crowd pushing them on, with the Eriksson love, all that stuff. So I really do like them. I think they're going to beat Russia tomorrow in advance. Group C, Netherlands has already won and moved on. They've got nothing to go from here. I think that's going to be a stance that I'm going to take tomorrow. I don't think I'm going to be playing Depay. I kind of like some of their substitutes. So we'll go over that in a minute. Ukraine versus Austria. So, this one's weird. They both could win and they both could draw. A draw probably gets them through, which is weird, right? But that's how it is. 4 points and Euros is probably going to get them through. But I do think that the teams at this point, like, why would you I'm sorry. So Ukraine, if they win or draw, they're in. So Ukraine does want to win. Then Austria win and they're in. So I think that both teams like would want to win here. Draw, they probably get through, but again, like why chance anything, right? So go for a win. So I think there might be some goodness there. And then North Macedonia, they're done. So yeah, they're just done. So that's unfortunate for them, but maybe they play for pride. All right. Let's get into the game. So we'll start with Ukraine versus Austria. This one is a very, very square match. You really don't see things that square all that often. I briefly was listening to the RotoWire pod, and I think that they brought up a good point that it kind of does. The odds seem to think that it's a decent shot of the teams drawing here, right? So the draw bet is minus 110. Which is just weird. But, when you look at, I'm just going to look at this one more time. So Ukraine win or draw versus Austria, Ukraine advances in second. So Ukraine would be very happy with the draw. Austria, though, would want to win so that they get through as the second place team. If they draw, they'll hope 4 points are enough as one of the. So again, it does seem like Ukraine's cool with 3, but I just struggle, even though the odds are saying it, I just struggle to think that professional athletes out there would take anything to chance. So I'm going to still play this game. And from a cash perspective, the teams are going to play. We'll see if that's a mistake, but let's start with the Ukraine side. Yarmolenko and Malinowski have by far been their best players all tournament. Oh, the total on this, which I think is really, really important to mention. It's square at 2. Okay. Tons of juice on the under 2.5. So like Vegas kind of seems to be saying this is a 1-1 type of match. So Yarmolenko and Malinowski have been by far the best players. Tsenegov, we haven't seen come in. I mentioned last time that could be Tsenegov or Marlos. It was neither. I'm blanking on who it was. Regardless, Malinowski did have a set monopoly, and we saw Yarmolenko take some too. Oh, it was Malinowski played up top, and they brought in the extra midfielder. That's what it was. And he actually, I'm blanking on the guy's name. He was super cheap, fairly chalky. He took one corner, but got a yellow. Malinowski will take majority of the corners. Really good player for Atalanta. Yarmolenko, West Ham guy that doesn't get to play much there, but has always been really good for Ukraine. Very, very attacking minded. Those are by far the 2 best plays. I think that those are the only 2 players that you consider on this big 4-game slate from Ukraine. Zinchenko's solid player, but I don't know if you'll get there. And then obviously Yaremchuk for GPP. If you think that this is a game that has some goals, I think that's fine. But otherwise, I think you can avoid. To Senegal if in, it would be interesting. I don't think you can go there. But if Senegal would be in, though, that would push me off Malinowski. And then I would just be like, Yarmolenko maybe for the forward eligibility. And otherwise, I think I would avoid. For Austria's kind of been terrible for DFS. David Alaba takes a monopoly of set pieces, but plays center back. So there's no open play value. He's not like, if he was like $4,000 defender doing that, lock and load. $5,000 defender, maybe. But 6,000 plus midfielder, no freaking way playing this sweeper role. And here's the worst part. Unless I think we see like another center back, like that 100% is a center back, I don't think no matter what the like sofa score or the score or television tells us, I don't think we can be like guaranteed that Alba isn't in that role, so you just can't play him. So I think Austria is just a pass for me. So maybe that's where you come from this game, just being like one that you can somewhat take off. I think Malinowski and Yarmolenko, you still need to just look. Ulmer, Lehner, fine. Nothing stands out. They just haven't been that good to do things. GPP, YOLO goal, Arnautovic, especially after the suspension, I could totally see something like that. That's about it. Baumgartner is a good player, and the Bundesliga has not been looking good in this tournament at all. So maybe like a GPP YOLO on Baumgartner, Arnautovic, Sabitzer, maybe. I think it's fine. But overall, Malinowski, Yarmolenko. All right, let's move to the next game. Netherlands versus Macedonia. I think one of the biggest things on this slate is going to come down to, do you play Memphis Depay? I lean towards the fade just because Netherlands has everything locked up. Like we saw Italy, especially once they got a goal ahead, really subbing everybody out. I hope Netherlands just does us a favor and just sits them. I doubt it. But you got to ask yourself, if Depay subs off at half, like how tilted are you going to be? Or if he subs out at 55, like even last game versus Austria without the PK, he was not all that great. He wasn't going to be like smashing, the value of the slate out. So maybe you could avoid. I think Malin is an interesting, potentially cash viable due to the odds, but probably better GPP, but really, really good young player for, I think it's Ajax. Don't hold me to it. It's one of those ever decent teams. Here's what I'll just say about Netherlands. Anybody that's a regular, I'm very, very wary of. So as much as Dumfries has been crushing it, I don't necessarily think like you have to play him here because of the sub risk. Being Anholt, I would be really shocked if he doesn't give way to, I'm blinking on the defender's name, to Wijnau. Be shocked if that didn't happen. I think the plays that I could really like here, and I want to see what his price is. How much is Klaassen? All right, 6,100, no, but Gravenberch, 3,900, I absolutely love. Ryan Gravenberch on Liverpool radar, no bias there, but one of the better players in the Everdees League, does play for Ajax. Take some set pieces. I think when Depay would go out, which I'm just at this point, I'm just making that assumption. Like I'm almost calling that a certainty. If he plays 90, like Frank de Boer probably should be fired, or was on the hot seat going to the tournament. Probably is kind of off the hot seat for how good the Netherlands has been, but playing 90 minutes of Depay here would just be awful. So Gravenberch, when goes off, I think Gravenberch would take set pieces, and he's sub 4,000. We're going to need some value here. So I really like that as a source of value. And that's probably it. I think Malin and Gravenberch are my favorite plays. And then if you see different wingbacks in here, they'll be okay. They're just still expensive. So just all depends on what you want to do. For North Macedonia, I'm sorry, I didn't even bring up the odds. Netherlands is a huge favorite here. That's the part that's really, really difficult, because the minus 345 favorite with a high total. So it is over 2.5, under 3.5, so right about 3 total. This normal game we want to target that, but with the pie potentially subbing, I really think that if I'm doing it, it's going to be Malin. For North Macedonia, I think everybody's GPP only. Alioski and Bardhai are the set piece takers. Alioski, we saw, took the PK, missed it, but got the follow-up. I was shocked that wasn't Pandev. I just, as a plus 1,000 dog, outside of just GPP, I can't imagine anybody here for sets or for cash. I can't imagine doing it. Now, if you want to play the goalie, I think that makes a ton of sense, especially if we see a rotated Netherlands side. That could definitely work. And I think this game is in Netherlands. Yeah, it is in Amsterdam. So, it is in front of the home crowd. All right. Russia versus Denmark. This is a game that means a ton. I already mentioned this in the introduction that I love Denmark here. Not only do we obviously have the Christian Eriksen stuff going on with, at this point, Denmark still being alive despite really bad luck. Like, bad luck to have to play that game versus Finland. They played really good versus Belgium. It was just 2 moments by Lukaku and De Bruyne that beat them. Like, Denmark was right there the entire game. And I really think that they can take it to Russia here. So Martin Braithwaite is a core play for me. He was so good at watching that game versus Belgium, just so lively. The Barcelona man actually looked like a Barcelona man there. He's going to be looking for a move this summer, so this is a good chance to I would assume, like, he's not looking for it, but Barcelona needs to sell him and raise some funds. So this is a good chance for him to impress for a new club. Love that he would be out here, especially if they start Cornelius, who's a natural striker. I love that it would put Braithwaite and Poulsen back out on the wings. That gives them a little more open play value, especially Braithwaite, who to me is just a core play. Probably my favorite forward on this slate, bar none. Damsgaard should be on sets. Just curious here. If you see Jensen, that would also be set pieces, but it should be Damsgaard or Jensen. Daniel Wass took a couple corners short last game. He's taken some all the way back in the past for like Valencia, I believe it was. I can remember him taking set pieces. So the fullbacks are fine. Højbjerg, I can't imagine he'd take another PK. It should be Braithwaite, but he's been really good for them this tournament. You could sell me on almost anybody here. Thomas Delaney is a good player. You could sell me on pretty much these three, Cornelius, GPP, Delaney for value. I'm good with. So yeah, love Denmark. Minus 143. Total hovering a little bit over. So like that's probably like 2.75. So solid total too. All right, Russia. I think there's only 2 cash plays here, Golovin and Moranchuk. For me, it would be Golovin easily over him. I do think despite how good Denmark have been, they've also shown the ability to be open, which makes me like Golovin in a game that Russia needs to win just as much as Denmark. Golovin's been having pretty much a set monopoly. Moranchuk has taken 1 or 2, but really do like Golovin, sub 8K. So I think, in a lot of ways, this game could very well decide the slate, which is kind of cool. That atmosphere should be crazy too. So that'll be a fun watch. Kiraviev and Fernandez are fine. Fernandez, I hope he's okay. He was chalk last slate, went off injured. He's a good wing back. Plays natural fullback, but very much gets forward, a threat on set pieces. So while I don't know if I want to spend up on him, I wouldn't call you crazy. Jumba, ultimate GPP play as always. Denmark did concede to a striker on a header the first game, which that's one of the things that I always think of with Jumba, and like him scoring. This guy's just a mammoth human being. So that covers Russia and Denmark. Final game, Belgium versus Finland. Let's just go ahead and cross Finland off here. I don't really want anybody there. If you want to go Pukki, Lord, or I don't remember the name of the other striker they've been playing, go for it. But or if you want to go goalie, but otherwise I can't imagine anybody else. Belgium should be really interesting. Kevin De Bruyne is expected to start. Back to the World Cup days. Here's just the crazy thing about Belgium. Even when Kevin De Bruyne's in, with Carrasco and Mertens on, Kevin De Bruyne does not just jump on every set piece. I've seen Carrasco take over him when he's on. I've seen Mertens take. Eden Hazard is starting there, has taken before. So Belgium's set pieces and Belgium's open play value isn't like awesome, but they can score so many goals. They're a minus 303 favorite. They do technically need to win to guarantee first place in the group. And it's a solid, it's about a 2.75 total too. So what I've always done with Belgium, and it scares me in this late to do, especially after last late, but when you have all their playmakers on, so you have Carrasco, you have Hazard, you have De Bruyne, you have Dries Mertens, Meunier, lesser extent a playmaker. I don't want to go that far, but he can be attacking. The best way to do it all is just go ahead and take Lukaku. Take the guy most likely to score. Now, after last slate and him putting up less than a 1 DK, it's tough. But if you watch the game, Lukaku was insanely influential. He was a part of both goals. He didn't get any DK points for it, but I still think he's playing great football. I think if there's a Belgian player I want to play, if I want to pay up for, I think it's Lukaku, but that is scary. I totally get De Bruyne. I just can't imagine that he'd come back and play 90 here, especially, once Belgium get ahead enough. It just doesn't make sense to risk De Bruyne. So, again, he's super expensive. I don't know if I want to spend all that money. It's like Depay. Like, if you told me they were playing in a game, like a must-win game, and they were going to play 90 minutes, then of course, probably want to just click Depay, De Bruyne, and figure it out. But with both teams potentially not being in a situation where they need to play them 90 minutes, that they're not needing to play with incredible urgency, I guess. I don't know. This is tough. So I think Eden Hazard is probably one of my favorite GPP plays on the slate. He's actually looked really good in his cameo appearances. Again, he's much like De Bruyne, though. How much is he going to play? But at least I'd be getting a discount on it. So, yeah, set pieces are a mess. Probably be De Bruyne, but Mertens can take. I've seen Mertens take over De Bruyne, Carrasco. So, I'd have De Bruyne, Mertens, and Carrasco all underlined. The best point per dollar play for Belgium may just be Meunier with why is his name? The Leicester Castagne. With Castagne out for the tournament, they don't really have anybody else that can play right back or right wing back. Thorgan Hazard could, but he's always played on the left. So, it's kind of just made Meunier play. So it makes it a decent play. All right. That is all 4 games. Very, very interesting, as you can see. There's not any strong takes other than Denmark. I love Denmark. That's my strong take. So you better believe in GPP. I'm going to be stacking up Denmark. Let's take a look at my core. Martin Brathwaite, as I said, I love him. Ryan Gravenberch for value. I hope he's in. That would suck if he's not. And then Meunier. And then I think from here, because you have the Gravenberch value, it's just going to all depend on where do you want to spend up. Do you want to spend up for Depay? Do you want to spend up for De Bruyne? I'll tell you what, I didn't even think about this. If Steven Berghuis started, that would be really interesting. Super, super active guy from the Dutch league. Here's the thing. He is a natural winger, okay? I could see – here's actually the really interesting thing. Sorry, this is just thinking this out. They could start him over Depay, and then he would play the Depay role. He can do lesser Memphis Depay stuff for them. He's – pretty explosive, creative, would take a monopoly set pieces. So that would be interesting. That would be really interesting. I don't think he's going to do it, but that would be interesting. So keep an eye on that. We'll know that in the first game. But you want to play Depay, De Bruyne, Lukaku. Again, Malin 9,700 is going to have no ownership. That's a really interesting Dutch pivot. Let's see if there's anybody else that just jumps out here as I go down. I said Eden Hazard, 8,400. Not many people are going to want to click there, so I think that's good for GPP. Dries Mertens has been terrible and been an early sub candidate both games. So that just makes it tough to go to. There's Malinowski. I think it's a really solid play at 7,900 as long as we have a line to a set piece. Monopoly, Golovin at 7,800 plenty. And again, I'm just going to go down the player list and just kind of point, just because my takes as I'm going to the lineups aren't that great. I'm just going to tell you who kind of my player pool is. And this is normally what I do on my own. I'm just going to record it. So if you're bored by it, cool. See you. I'll see you tomorrow. But yeah, if this helps, then by all means, let's just keep going. Carrasco, God, I wish he was good. I've fallen for that trap now 2 straight times, not in Maine, but he was so good for Madrid this year. He just struggled for Belgium. Quincy Promes, I didn't even know he was on the squad. That's another option. If he would be in over Depay, he could take some set pieces. Poulsen, I like a lot. So I already mentioned that playing at left wing. David Alaba, like 4,700 David Alaba, and he'd be in core with Gravenberch. Just 6,700 for a sweeper. That's just too much. There's Dumfries, who's been potentially up there in terms of player of the tournament. If you go click on him over Mounier, I have 0 issues. I think Mounier has a better chance of playing more than Dumfries, just because Belgium still has to win, and he doesn't have a natural replacement. Mears I like a lot for what it's worth. Really good player. I just don't think he would start. There's Davy Klaassen. That's another good GPP play. Very attacking minded midfielder. He could actually very well take the Jenny Wijnaldum role and play it really well. Cornelius 5,900. That's a really good value if you like Denmark a lot. 5,900 for the striker makes a lot of sense. Alioski, probably not. Playing Netherlands at 5,900, but it's okay. There's Wijnaldum's fine. Mahale, fine. Really he surprised me because he's natural right back and they have him on the left side. A lot of times those guys don't really have a lot of luck because they have to, when they get to the byline, they have to cut back to cross with the right foot, but he's been really good. There's Jensen, if N would be on set pieces for Denmark. So if he was starting, if I knew he was starting, he would probably be in my cash lineup for sure. Laner's okay. Bardhai, okay. Daniel Wass, I think, is a really solid defender option, especially if you don't have Jensen. Maybe they'll actually cross them this time. 5,000. There's Fernandez is okay at 4,900. Damsgaard, 4,900. Without Jensen, probably would have a share of set pieces with Daniel Wass. We're going to start getting into more and more like thin plays. Zinchenko, 4,400 is okay. Delaney, 42 is fine. I think I'm pretty much done. There's Gravenberch, I already have over there in the core. I don't know if you need to do too often down here. I'm not going to keep going through the names. So that should give you a good idea. So hope that helps. Stay tuned. Prize picks in the morning on my Twitter feed at GatorGuy231. I'll also drop it here. I got closed today. Would have been a win. Got lucky with the halftime sub of Bonucci. Xhaka was on his way to go over, then got a yellow. So hoping to get back at it tomorrow. Hopefully find some that will be good. With that, though, that'll do it. Good luck tomorrow. Thank you all for tuning in. This is Keith, a.k.a. GatorGuy231. See you.